Appendix E, 236, the Human Machine Interface Design. The appendix provides human factor design criteria applicable to both Subpart H and Subpart I, with the part of the Human Machine Interface Design with criteria to minimize the negative safety effect of the desiring to consider the human factor development. The human machine interface of the product design should be sufficient to incorporate the human factors in engineering with appropriate for the complexity of the product, with the gender, educational, mental, and physical capabilities, intending the operator to maintain the degree of the required human interaction with the component with the environment with the product will be used. In the use section, the designer may be any with the specific requirements for the design, the system, the subsystem of both the products and subpart, subject to subpart H, within subpart I, with the part of the operator, meaning the aim for the human intent with the receive the information from the provided information for the performer, repair for the maintenance of the safety critical product supports of the subpart H and I. With this part, human factors, the factors issued with the designer must consider with regard to the general function of the system, included the reduced situational awareness of the over-reliance. Human-machine interface designs must be given with an operator the active function to perform feedback on the result of the operator's action information with the automatic function of the system, as well as its performance of the operation must be in a loop. The design must be considered with the machine with the following the methods of the maintaining an active role of the human operators. The system must require an operator to initiate the action with the operator with the train with the requiring operator to remain in the loop for at least 30 minutes at a time. The system must provide timely feeding of the operator regarding the system automated actions, reason for such of the actions, effect of the operator, machine manual action for the system. The system must be warned operator of the demands requires an operator to take an action. The human machine interface design must equalize an operator's workload, and human interface design must be not restrict with the operator's safety related duties. Expectation, predictability, consistency with the project behavior, the communication of the human interface design must accommodate with the operator's exemption, logical, consistent relationship between the actions resolved with similar operators must behave with the consistency when the operators perform the same action and action upon them. End of the user's liability to perform information. Human interface design must therefore minimize the operator's information processing load and minimize information processing load. The designer must present integrated information with the creation directly support with a variety of any type of the decision the operators make. Provide information for the format representation, minimize the time required to understanding the act. Conduct utility tests, decision aid the establishing clear benefits of such of the processing time saved, improved quality decisions. For end of the usual limited memory. The human interface design therefore minimizes the operator information process loading. 2. Minimize the short-term memory load of the designer shall integrate with the data information for the multiple source of the signal formation with the representative of the chunking or design such of the three or fewer chunks information needed to be remembered at one time. The time minimized with the long-term memory load. The designer shall design and support recognizing memory to design memory aids to minimize the amount of the information that must be recalled with the unaided but making the critical decision must promote active processing of the information. Design system to anticipate possible user errors, including capability to catch the errors before they promulgate their system. Conducting cognitive task analysis prior to decision system to be understood with the information process requirements. All operators must be critical decision. 2. Present information that accurately represents particular states. When the create display for the control of the designers must consider the ergonomics and shall 1. Locate the display of the slot closest possible to the control of the effect of the time. Locate the display of the control based on the operator's position. Arrange control for the minimize the need for the operator to change position. Arrange controls according to the expected order of use. Group similar to controls together. Design higher stimulus response capability, geometric and conceptual. Design safety critical control with the require more than one safety positive activity. The auto stick shift requires 2 movements to get into the reverse. Design controls always ease recovery and error. The design display controls to reflect the specific general and physical limitation for the intended operator. The design shall also address the information for the manager to the end of the human machine interface design. Display information with the manner which emphasizes relative importance compliant with the ANSI HFS 100 1988 standard. Usually display illuminated so that has a difference with at least 35 CDs and M2s. Displays between the foreground and the background. The display shall be capable of minimum contrast 3:1 or 7:1. Preferred controls shall be provided with adjusted brightness level, the contrast level. Display on the information necessary to the user. The one that has needed for the user. The short, simple sentence phrase of the word with the operating understanding the operator within educational cognitive capability of the intended of the operator. Use the complete words of the use complete words Where possible, where abbreviations are necessary, choose the commonly accepted abbreviation with a consistent method of selecting commonly used the term where the operator will understand. Any consistent format will also display screens and placing each of the design element consistent with the specified location. Displaying critical information for the center of the operator's field of view with the placing of the items in need to be found quickly in the upper left-hand corner of the items which are not time critical with the lower right-hand corner of the field of view. Group items that belong together, design all the visual display that meet the human performance criteria under the monochrome condition with the add color only if it will help you the performer task, and use color coding and the redundant coding technique. Limiting number of the colors over the group of the display no more than 7. The design warnings to match the level of the danger with the alternating nature of the signal. With respect to the information entry, they will use the full QWERTY keyboard for the data entry. With respect to the problem management, the human-machine interface design shall ensure that the human-machine interface design must enhance the operative situation awareness. Human interface design must support response as selection and scheduling. Human interface design must support contingency planning, ensure that the electronics equipment frequency emission for the complaint with appropriate Federal Communication Commission regulation, FCC rules regulation, codified in Title 47 of the Code Federal Regulations. Electronic equipment must have the appropriate FCC equipment authorization following the documentation applicably obtain the FCC equipment authorization. The OET Bulletin Board number 61, October 1992, superseded the May 1987 issue of the FCC equipment authorization program. The radio frequency device for the document provides the overview of the equipment authorization program to control the radio interference with the radio transmitter with the electronic product overview of how they obtain the equipment authorization. The OET Bulletin 63, October 1993, ousting the FCC part with the 15 regulations for the low-power non-licensed transmitter of the document provides the basic understanding of the FCC regulations. Low of the power unlicensed transmitter includes the answer to some commonly asked questions that additional bulletin does not contain the information concerning personnel communication services or PCSs transmitted operating action under Part 15, Subpart D of the rules, Title 47 Code Federal Regulations, Part 0 through 19 of the FCC rules and regulations governing PCS transmitters may be found in Title 47, Part 0 through 19. The OET Bulletin 62, understanding of the FCC regulation for the computer for the other digital device for the document has been prepared to provide basic understanding of the FCC regulation for the digital computing of the devices, including another answer to the commonly asked question. The designer must comply with the FCC requirements of maximum permissible exposure, limited field strength of the power of the density of the transmitter, operating at the frequency of the 300 kilohertz or the 100 gigahertz, specific absorption rate, and limited of the device operating with a close proximity with the body of the commission requirements of the detail of the Part 1 and 2 of the FCC rules and regulations of Title 47.1 through 1307, B 13010, 21091, 21093. Following documentation is applicable to demonstrating whether proposed existing transmitted facilities operating devices comply with limits for the human exposure radio frequency RF fields adopted by the FCC. Alright. OET Bulletin number 65, August 1997, evaluating compliance with the FCC guideline for the human exposure for the radio frequency electromagnetic field. The OT Bulletin number 6 supplemental, the edition 1907, the August 1997, the OT Bulletin number 65 supplemented edition 1907, August 1977, OET Bulletin number 65 supplemental C, Bulletin supplemented off the guidelines suggesting the evaluation compliant with the, however, they are not intended to establish mandatory procedure. Other methods of procedure may be acceptable if the baseline with the engineering practices. Alright, Appendix F.